She's here.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Sorry I'm late. The weather was really bad today.
Oh, it's okay. It's fine. It's okay. Have a seat, please.
Thank you.
Hi, Casey. Thanks for coming. My name is Sharika.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
All right. Thank you, Casey, for taking the time today to do a follow-up session with us. Before we start, I would like to let you know that Sharika here is going to be a social service worker, and she's also going to be doing a co-assessment with me. So first half of the session will be done by me, and the other half will be done by Sharika here.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, thank you. And on that note, we also have Kiara here.
Hello.
Yeah, she's in training. She's the observer, and she's going to be watching us today.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, sure.
Thank you. Okay. So before we start, I know last sessions that we were in, you did sign the confidentiality form, but for this purpose of the assessment again, I need you to re-sign a confidentiality form. Here's a pen, please.
Okay.
Basically, what it means is anything we say today is going to remain in this room. Except that I've been subpoenaed by the court, or you disclose to me that you are going to cause harm to others or to yourself. So that's the only time I have to let them know about what we discussed today. Okay, you understand what that means?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you, Casey. Please sign.
Sure. You want me to sign here?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Also, do you care for anything? Water,
No,
tea?
I'm okay.
You okay?
Thanks for asking.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so today's assessment is going to be covering the BPSS, and what that means is we're going to be looking into the biological, psychological, spiritual, and social aspects of your life today, okay?
Okay.
All right. So on that, I would like to let you know that I am going to be having series of questions to be asked today, and it's part of the process, and it is going to be including use of alcohol and drugs. Okay, you understand?
Yes, I do.
All right. Okay.
And before we start, I'd like to also add that if at any time you're feeling uncomfortable with the process or any questions at all, please let us know. We can stop and restart, or we could even do a follow-up session just to complete it, okay?
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay, sure.
All right. Okay. So I would want to ask, can you please describe the relationship you had with your ex-husband before the abuse started?
Before was it was really good. Like I just feel like the beginning of everything is like the excitement, like we were in love, you know, and he was really, really good husband. I was so proud of that man. And when we had our daughter, like he was the happiest man. He's always home on time from work. He's just like, he was a family man, spending time with me, with his daughter. Everything was good. We had a happy home. We really had a happy home, and everything was perfect. If I can say perfect, everything was perfect.
Okay. Okay. If I heard you correctly, Casey, you said that from the beginning it was good.
It was good.
He was a happy guy and everything was fine. So I would want to understand, what do you think triggered the situation to come forth?
Even up till now, I don't even know, because he wouldn't even tell me. But from what I have gathered, I feel like when he started having financial problems, because I don't know, I feel like something happened at the workplace that caused everything, because he was home for like a while, because I think I don't know, like the work was slow or whatever, or they suspended him. He wouldn't even communicate with me that time, so I don't even know. But there was a time that I asked him, "Oh, aren't you going to work today?" And he said no. The following day, no. The following day, no. And I asked him, like, "Honey, why are you always home?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm on some leave or whatever. I'll be going next month or blah blah blah." Like, and then every single time he's drinking. Anytime that I will come back from work, he's drunk. He's just sitting around, not doing anything, yelling at everybody, blaming me for his downfall. Like, so I feel like him losing his job or whatever, and he took his anger and everything onto alcohol. So alcohol became like, his best friend, and it just got out of hand.
Okay.
I did everything as a wife to make that family work, but it was hard.
Okay. So on the note that I've understood you from the husband perspective, I would also want to know, how do you think people can describe you? What do you think people see you as?
As a very caring woman, very understandable, always there for my family, always there for friends, always there for anybody that needs my help. And I just feel like I don't even need somebody to even tell me that, because I see what I do, and as a woman I feel like everything that I have been doing is what a woman is supposed to do. Making sure that my family is like taken care of. Even when he started with his whole drinking, I never for once gave up on him. I encouraged him to, like that I can even go with him to see like a counselor to go to rehab. Like I book sessions, and then he'll be like, I will go. Then he'll be like, okay, can you reschedule? Then I say, okay. Then that day will come, and it's like stories like over and over and over. It really took me a very, very long time, like for me to be like, I just feel like at that point I just couldn't do anything else. So I feel like when it comes to how people think of me or how I think of myself, I think of myself as a very, very caring person and very understandable.
Yeah. All right. I just wanted to clear this part, Casey. Just in case you're wondering what I'm doing with my pen and the paper, it's just so that I'm able to put down some of the notes of the things you're telling me, so that way I'm able to come up with the best intervention to help the situation. Okay?
Sure.
That's okay by you?
Yeah, that's
okay,
fine.
all right. I noticed that the last session we had, you disclosed to me that your mom do help you a lot with Christine. So I want to know more. How is the relationship with your mom and your daughter intertwining?
I don't know what I would have done without my mom. She's been such a great, my mom has really, really been supportive from day one. Like, she has always been there for me, for my husband, for Christine, and even after my husband left and things were so hard because I have to go to work, Christine has to go to school, she was always there to, pick her from school, make her dinner. So the three of us, our relationship is like very, very close. It's like we are on the phone 24/7 every day. I see her every weekend. We go shopping, we do everything together. So my mom is like a really, really great support in my life.
That's good. That's good. So, apart from your mom, what other support system do you have?
Oh, so I have a lot of family members. Like, I have a big family, but I have these two cousins, Denise and Maura.
Okay.
They are the closest, like family. They are my family. They are my cousins. They are my sisters. They are my everything. So these two people plus my mom are the people that I'm closest to, and my daughter, of course, I'm closest to in the whole world. And they have been really there for me. Anytime that I will call on them, they are there for me.
All right. That's good. Like I mentioned earlier, I said that we're going to have a series of questions, including use of drugs and alcohol. So I would like to know, do you ever feel like when you're coping with stress? Do you make use of drugs or alcohol?
No, me, when it comes to alcohol, it's something that I've never had one in my life. I don't think I'll ever have alcohol because based on my relationship as a child with my father and getting involved with a man, that alcohol like destroyed our marriage. It is something that is a no to me. Whenever I feel down, I have my daughter, I have my mom, I have the niece, I have people at work, I go to church, so alcohol is a no-no for me. No.
Okay. So on that note, I would like to know, how do you cope with stressful situations?
As I said, spending time with my Christine, my daughter, is like, she's my everything. Whenever I'm stressed, whenever I'm in a bad mood, it's like, let's go out, let's do shopping, let's do our nails, and by the time that we come home, it's like, it's all gone.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So, how is Christine taking things so far with the things going on?
So far, so good. I feel like at first it was really hard on her, especially like she growing up knowing this happy family, and all of a sudden like daddy has to leave. Yeah. It was really really hard on her. But I feel like I and my husband, we've been separated like for like 9 years now. So it's like she has gotten used to the idea of just being mommy and me. So yeah.
Okay. So she's adjusted. Adjusted.
But at first it was really hard because she wouldn't even go to bed without asking about daddy. Where is daddy? When is daddy gonna come home? Can I call daddy? And it was really, really, really hard. It was because as a mother, you feel like all the time you just want your children to know their dad, or like even when there is a man in the house, like you feel protected, you feel like you have security. Yeah. So when he left, it was like we had nobody to cover us. It was like we were just there, So, but 9 years later, she's good.
That's good.
She's really good.
Christine, I can only imagine how you feel. Okay, I must really applaud you. You are a really strong woman. I mean, for taking that time to come speak with someone, I applaud you for that. Thank you for taking that time. Also, I would want to know, have you ever had any suicidal thoughts or homicidal thoughts since this whole situation started?
At first, yeah. I got married to my husband when I was 20, and sometimes I feel like I wish I took the time to grow up. I wish I took the time to, enjoy my life, like, have friends time, travel with my friends and stuff like that. But at a very young age, I met my husband when I was 16, right from high school. Wow. So yeah, he was a real big part of my life, and we got married at the age of 20, and I was really happy, and we were together for for 10 years. We were married for 10 years, and for him to just live like that, because he was the only one that I know, he was the closest to me, and for him to just live like that, I felt empty. I felt like I didn't know how to cope without him. So at first it was really really hard for me. Wow. But as time went on, I realized that though the relationship, although my marriage is over, I got a beautiful daughter out of it. Yes. And I was like, you know what, I just have to be strong and just be there for my daughter, so that she will not repeat the same mistakes that I did. Because sometimes I feel like, as much as my mom has been there, sometimes I feel like if my mom would have made maybe different choices in her life, maybe my life would have been different. The reason I say that is because when I was growing up, it was pretty much whatever I have experienced in my marriage, that was what my parents was going through in the house. Wow. My father being abusive, always like drunk, always smoking and everything. And my mom like just put up with it. It was like she wasn't bothered, or I can't really speak for her, but from what I witnessed, that's how it made me feel. So even when my husband started like doing all of this to me, it felt like it was normal, because when I was growing up, that was what I knew. So maybe that is our version of normal, right? So I feel like maybe that is the reason why, you know, sometimes they say marriage is for better, for worse, but sometimes when you assess the situation and you feel like it's not going the right way, you should just leave for your own well-being and for that of your children. But I feel like I have to stay like how my mom stayed to fix everything. But sometimes you can't fix everything, you know. So I just, yeah, so that's it. I just feel like, you know, wow. Me thinking about it is like, it's bringing me a lot of memories. So, sorry, what was your question again?
That's okay. That's okay.
I've even lost what it said.
That's okay, Casey. Well, the question was, I myself went out of thought because I'm in it as well. But the question was that I asked you was, it was your relationship with your mom and your child and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I do understand what you're saying, and like I said, I can only imagine it. Okay. All right. So if I heard you correctly, I heard that you mentioned that Christine, your daughter, is adjusting to the situation at hand, and she's understanding how things is going and stuff like that. On the other hand of yours, do you think that you can have a talk with your ex-husband as of now?
No, we haven't been in contact for a very long time, and I feel like our lives right now is good, and I don't want to invite him into our life again. And when it comes to me and him, we are done for good, but at the same time, so I want him to be there for his daughter. But I feel like when he left, he never really made any approach or any had any intentions of like getting in contact with his own daughter. So now that I feel like my daughter is like much older, that she doesn't really like crave for him, I don't want to invite him in our life only for him to come around for maybe a week or two and disappear again, because I know how hard it's gonna be on my daughter.
Yeah.
So because of that, no, I don't want to be in contact or like I don't want to have anything to do with him.
Okay, all right. I want to go in depth. Are you a religious person?
I am. I go to church, and that is another thing that helped me cope, because me going to church, my church, for like all the people in my church, my pastor, like the members, everybody has been really, really supportive. That is the reason why I am this strong as I am, because knowing that there is someone greater than human who kind of like who is in control, who take care of all of us, is like has really got me going. So yeah, I consider myself as a religious person.
Beautiful. All right. Further on, do you have any health issues that you would want me to know about?
You know, back in the days when I was going through like the whole abusive thing with my husband, as I said, it was really stressful, and I even wanted to take my own life because that's how depressed I got. So I had some mild like depression.
Okay.
But that's like years ago.
Okay. When you said that you had a mild depression, was it diagnosed by the doctor?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Yes. All right. Thank you. Is there any other family history, medical history you want me to know? Health issues with family?
No.
All right. That concludes my session with you. But then we have to further on with Sharika here.
Okay.
That's okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you want to take a break at this point? Because
Yes.
I know that a lot of those questions might have been a little bit much for you. So if you want to take a break, let me know.
Yeah, sure. And if I can get water, please.
Okay, definitely.
Sure.
I'll get you a bottle of water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Thank
I
you.
can just get back here. Thank
Sure.
you.
Everything good so far? Okay.
Well, here you are.
Thank you.
Also, before we begin, I would also want to do some grounded techniques with you because I noticed that you were a bit overwhelmed with the questions that I was asking you. So, thank you. How was the water?
That was good. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so I want you to take a deep breath in and out of your nose. In, out. All right. Just take a moment to just think about the things, the good things that's happening right now. You know.
Well, thank you. That was really helpful.
That was good.
It was good. Thank you.
All right.
All right, so Casey, we're going to continue on with the questions. So just bear with us for a couple more minutes,
Sure.
okay? Awesome. I noticed earlier we talked about spirituality a little bit. We touched on whether you go to church, and you indicate that you go to church and you like your pastor. Are there any other community organizations or spiritual organizations that you belong to?
No.
Okay. Okay. And you mentioned earlier that you're very close with your cousins.
Yeah.
You know, that's a very good thing. Family support is and can be one of the strongest supports that you can have in your life. But outside of your cousins, do you have friends that you meet up with at times?
No, I don't really have friends because, as I said, I was 16 when I met my husband. So pretty much I did not really spend my time being with friends. It was like all him. And when I got married at the age of 20, it was just like the two of us living our life, living our dreams. So I got like disconnected from all of my friends, and so I don't really have friends. So the only people that are closest to me is my mom and my cousins and the people at church.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay. You know, when you and your husband separated years ago, you mentioned that it was really hard for your daughter, Christine, to adjust, and that's normal. That's absolutely normal. But what about you? How did that affect you, and how is that still affecting you at this time, if it still is?
It really, really affected me a lot. As I said earlier, he was all what I knew, like that time. And I couldn't do anything. I just wanted to just die because, like, what is the point of living when he's not around? And I was even diagnosed with depression and everything. So it really, really, really affected me. But now it doesn't affect me anymore because I decided to turn all of that frustration into being this strong woman for my daughter.
Oh, that's good.
And turning to God, like going to church, being like a religious person, has really helped me grow spiritually. So now it doesn't affect me. There are sometimes that, I think of him, of course, I can't look at my daughter without thinking about him, but I think about him, and I don't think about him in that way or the issues that we had, but I think about him as somebody I used to know. So it doesn't really affect my life anymore because I have given everything to God.
Okay.
He knows best.
I see that religion is really important to you. How about how you're sleeping? Are you sleeping well these days?
Very well.
Okay.
Very well.
Okay, that's good to know. What about your diet? Let's talk about your diet and how that is right now. Are you happy with your diet? Are you happy with your health overall?
We'll say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is good. My diet is like all over the place because working in the morning, I have to get up early. So there's some things that most of the time I have to skip breakfast, you know. And yeah, but I would say overall it's good.
Okay. Well, if at any time you think that there might be things that you want to work on in that area, again, that's something we can assist with. So
Sure.
let us know.
Okay. Sure.
We talked earlier too about how you react to stressful situations, and you know, you alluded to the fact that you have your daughter and you focus on your family, you have your mother as support, and you also go to church. And I want to explore that a little bit more, right? When you are happy, if you were happy in this instance, what would that look like? What would happiness look like to you in this instance?
That's a good question.
That's a good question, huh?
I don't know.
Wow. Okay. What about if you were sad? If you were really, really sad right now, what would that look like to you?
I'll be crying for sure. And
Okay.
yeah. When
That's
I'm
really
sad, that's all what I do. I cry.
Okay. Well, the reason, I'll tell you why I ask those questions. I ask those questions because I know you have a child, a young child, and children are sometimes very discerning. They pick up on certain emotions, they pick up on certain moods, and that's why I'm asking you that questions, because sometimes we might feel certain emotions within ourselves, but we don't know that we're exuding that. We don't know that people around us are able to see how we're feeling. So that's why I ask those questions. Okay.
I really do understand that because that is the reason why I decided to become strong, because I realized that it wasn't healthy for my daughter. For my daughter, like seeing her mom cry all the time. Because when I cry, she becomes sad too. But when I am happy, she's happy. So yeah.
So when I know eventually you left your husband eventually after years, but if I can go back, if you don't mind, when you were in the relationship, before, when things just started to get really, really bad, why didn't you leave as soon as it started to get bad, or what prevented you, I should say, from leaving?
I would say my mom.
Okay.
Because when I was, I think I said this, when I was growing up, that was what I knew.
Okay.
I feel like I married a man exactly like my father, and my mom stayed. So it made me feel like, okay, if your mom went through the same thing and she stayed, maybe it is normal. Maybe every couple goes through that. So I feel like maybe if I didn't witness that in my childhood, maybe I would have left.
Okay.
So I feel like my mom made me stay.
Okay, I want to wrap this up because we're looking at time in the interest of time. So I just have a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap this up for you, and then you can ask us if you have questions at the end, if you would like. Right now is a new page for you, and I hear that you're feeling stronger. Earlier on, you said that you're feeling better these days because you've left your husband. He's now your ex, and your daughter is adjusting and stuff like that. I want to ask you, what are some of the accomplishments that you're most proud of right now of yourself?
I would say becoming the person that I am now. I am not needy anymore. I don't need somebody to be in my life to make me feel complete. I feel like at first, in order for me to be complete or in order for me to be happy, I have to have somebody. But after everything that I have been through, I have realized that having self-love and self-care is one of the most important things that a person can possess in life. So I would say that I'm really, really proud of the woman that I have become.
Okay, that's good.
That's very good.
That's very, very good.
Thank you.
Yes, it's good that you realize that within yourself, realize those qualities, because I'll tell you, that's the beginning of your healing journey. That really is. And we've had some good information here, but we could definitely start from there. One last question that I wanted to ask you. I know that you had mentioned before that your parents got divorced when you were younger. Do you remember what age that was?
I was around 11, 12, I believe.
11 or 12? Okay.
Yeah, 11, 12, I believe.
Okay, all right.
And I feel like that is I used to blame my parents a lot, because I feel like my life turned out this way because of them. Because I feel like if my dad was around, there is no way that I would have started being in a relationship at the age of 16. There is no way that I would have gotten married at the age of 20. But with daddy not being in the house, I really had a lot of freedom to kind of like do whatever I want, because my mom, that time being like a single mom, and me being the older girl in the family and also the youngest, it was like she has to really struggle to, to take care of 5 of us, right? So she's always working, doing like petty job just to earn money. So I will come back from school and we are just home alone.
Wow.
Meaning that I can go out, I can do whatever, and she wouldn't even know.
Okay.
Whereby I feel like when I compare my life to those of my friends, that time when I was in high school, those ones that had both parents home, I feel like their life turned out to be different from mine. Maybe that is not the reason, maybe it depends on the individual, but that is how I feel. I feel like my life would have been better if I had both parents, or if I didn't lose one parent at that young age.
Wow. Okay. So I wanna end really on a positive note by saying, thanks again for coming. I feel like, though, I want to end by just asking you this last question, because I think that it would be a good way for us to end. Earlier on, I asked you what would happiness look like for you, and you kind of paused.
Yeah.
And, I really want to revisit that, because I want you to start to think, to think that way, right? How can we help you achieve happiness, or how can we help you at this point?